What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fire, Eric Sheetaber. We're going to be talking through today's MLB slate. We've also we've got some NBA tonight. There's some series wrapped up over the weekend, which I definitely enjoyed and was very impressed that my guy Russ can swing a series even at after all these years and all the hate he's taken. I thought it was pretty cool that he swung some of the major games in that series, and he was awesome in game 7. So that was fun to see. The first games yesterday was a little disappointed not to see Garland play because I wanted to see that series at full strength, and Cleveland just couldn't make a shot. But I think that's going to be a 6 or 7 game series, at least probably a 7 game series. And then we got Golden State advancing through somehow through Houston, who looked like the better team almost the whole time. But Golden State just has the experience and has the right guys, so it should be a fun next round without my Lakers. But Sheets, talk about your weekend, the Derby and everything. How'd you do? And we'll get into the slate.
Yeah, you hit on a couple of things. I mean, talk about the NBA, and when you talk about like experience and stuff like that, that's usually the kind of things that I just kind of dismiss. But I'll tell you, it's like going even back to the Pistons game against the Knicks. I mean, down the stretch, I mean, just Cade was just not as ready for the moment as Brunson was. You know what I mean? Just not quite there yet. And likewise, the Rockets were all ready to do their thing, and you know what? Curry didn't win a billion championships for nothing, and Kerr does not have like all that backlash for nothing. Draymond Green does not compete the way he competes for nothing, so it's Rockets are, they'll get there, but you gotta get there first. You know what I mean? You gotta step up against teams like that. And the Cleveland thing as a DFS player, I'm just glad they lost. I'm just sick of this freaking Garland bullshit. They know whether he's playing the whole freaking day every single time. I don't want to hear it.
I actually don't. From everything I know, they had no idea yesterday.
Okay.
Or they had no idea. Everything was that he was. They thought he was going to play. Actually, is what I heard. But I don't know. This is just from what the one podcast I've listened to since the games.
Yeah, the Derby we nailed pretty much every. I mean, we hit the last 4 races in a row, including the Derby. I was basically came out Thursday and said the most likely winner by far is the one that and it was like 9-1 and it won. But golf was interesting. So I ended up full fading Scheffler in the classic slates. And I wish I could say that I won the classic slates anyway, but I did not.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up hitting 2 different 10K scores in Showdown.
Yeah, that was sick. I saw that.
Round 1 and 4, I think. Round 1, I hit 10K. And yesterday, I got 3rd in the 555 Showdown. That one without Scheffler.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I do not know if I will be fading Scheffler in weak fields ever again. I mean, that was that's
like his tournament too. It's the first tournament he played in. It's his home place. It's everything was lined up.
He like tooled on everybody. It was like
it was over with after day. I've never seen it. They said he was like a 5-1 favorite after day 1.
And unfortunately, it wasted like just completely like not wasted, but how bad do you feel for Van Rooyen, who basically had the best tournament like ever and like lost by 10 strokes? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty amazing actually. So we'll see what becomes of that. And then I felt bad. I mean, I don't want to say choked, but he was like minus 800 to beat the record, like going down the stretch or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of chunked the last 2 holes. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Anyway, baseball was just, I don't even remember how I did in baseball. We'll get into it because we have, again, as you said, we have the slate, and we have the barely surviving San Francisco Giants get swooped at home. Got swept 2-0 by San Diego. Well, no problem. They just need to win 3 out of 4 at home against Colorado. Oh, no problem. They lose the first game to Colorado. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And then they got them. It just is a testament to how bad Colorado is. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, so we're going to share my screen and we're going to go through the slate, and we're also going to go through the the Survivor stuff. So there's I think apparently at least one game with weather issues, and right off the bat, I mean you have San Diego Yankees. I'm here living through it. It's just how do I put it? It's just kind of gross out, and it's like kind of gross, but I mean if I had to guess, I say it's not too gross for them to play. It's going to be like, I mean, that's the way I'm looking outside. Whenever my wife says it's pouring, that means it's like kind of drizzling and they could play baseball. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion on it. But obviously you have to wait and see. But you like anything in the Yankees San Diego?
I'm a little worried about the game, and also what I'm most interested in here is the pitching. Pavetta especially, actually, against the Yankees. So I would be interested in the pitching here, and I believe Pavetta's got one of the highest K props on the slate, and I would have interest even with him in Yankee Stadium. And I also would probably different. I mean, look, it's not good hitting weather because there's wind blowing in 11 miles an hour from center, and it's only 60 degrees. But yeah, I could see this. I could see arguing four prongs of this one. If maybe because of the wind, I would lean more towards the pitching. But yeah, I was interested in both the pitchers actually. We'll just have to, I guess, wait and see. And probably by the time I go live at 5:30, I'll have a better idea of it. But I know you're not going to be around for that one. But I think that hopefully we'll have some more clarity of what.
I will 100% be around for that.
Oh, you will? I thought you said you weren't.
Yeah,
okay.
I wasn't, but something changed. So I will be around for that. And I have Rodon and Pavetta, like you said, competing for SP2. I have one SP1, and then I have four guys competing for SP2. And I think Rodon and Pavetta are very natural options. And again, as you mentioned, this is not probably the game to mess with pitching just because of the weather. But
it's not a dream matchup either. You know what I mean?
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to try to stay away. But if I get to them and the game is a go, I mean, I'm certainly going to have to play some of them, So, yeah. So I do have – I'm basically taking a long time to say the same thing you did, is that I have interest in Pavetta and Rodon, but concerned about the weather, temper that enthusiasm, which we have to keep an eye on.
Yep, for sure. All right, then we get our old friend Brady Singer, and against Smith Shawver in Atlanta in what is it, a little bit of a lower total than I thought it was going to be. Actually, I more just thought that the Cincinnati would have a little bit of a higher total here. It looks like they're ready to go after Singer as usual. Singer is always the worst projected pitcher on the slate for whatever reason, and tends to outdo his projections at basically every time he goes out there. All right. I'm not that interested in Atlanta, and I think they're going to have some ownership. They're not going to have much ownership. I think I have a little bit of interest in Cincinnati, but mostly this game feels like, I don't want to say a cross off, but like a maybe take a shot or two with Brady Singer, I guess, and maybe take a shot or two with the Cincinnati offense. Anything for you here?
Yeah. So I'm not getting to either of the pitchers as, top priorities. I am getting Cincinnati as kind of in my top. I have one team at the top, and then I have two teams, and then I have three teams in kind of like the second tier, and then two in the third. And I have Cincinnati rated pretty decently, actually. They're kind of in that second tier for me. So I actually do like Cincinnati here. So some Cincinnati, probably not much, if any, of the pitching.
Yeah, I think it's fair, and I was just surprised Cincinnati's total was below 4 today. It kind of just threw me for.
What's the weather like there in Atlanta? Is it
70 degrees with winds blowing out 8 miles an hour?
I mean,
looks pretty good to me.
That looks pretty good to me too.
Yeah, not as good as Cincinnati's usual home park, but so what? They scored 21 runs on the road earlier this year.
Yeah.
All right, we've got Chicago and the wind blowing in 8 miles an hour from left field, 51 degrees. You've got Roop and Boyd. And I'll tell you what, as I pointed out at the start of this year, even after they lost some of they had the rough start with the Dodgers and Padres, and they were like, oh, and the Cubs are good, man. These guys are really good. They just hammer the ball. They did it again on Friday. They won all the money. I don't know what happened over the weekend because I didn't pay attention to baseball much. I'm catching up a little bit about that stuff. But we've got Boyd and Roop. I think Boyd is the maybe the number one option on the slate. Certainly an argument for it. So that's what I've got, and I don't mind. I wouldn't mind Roop because of the weather, except for I just keep pointing out this Cubs offense is really, really, really good. So that's what I've got.
Yeah, I have Boyd as one of the SP2s. I already mentioned Rodon and Pavetta, and those that has weather issues. So Boyd I have him with one other guy as my SP2. It's just, again, when I say as my SP2, I'm just talking about if they were just based on my projections, if I was just playing one lineup or whatever it is. And I'll show you what I'm getting in MME too. But I think Boyd is very, very reasonable, especially with the wind. And I'm not playing Roop ever again. I played him the one time. I'd rather just take hitters against him. And I'll tell you this: if they're going to keep the Cubs' ownership down, because I think I'll take a shot with the Cubs anyway. You know what I mean? Like, they don't really project all that great, so maybe I'm just kind of like steaming when I say that. But I would rather play the Cubs than Roop. How about that?
Yeah, that's fair.
But I do like Boyd.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Boyd a lot. It's just that the not great hitting weather is the only thing keeping me off the Cubs. But I'm almost wondering if I should take. Yeah, maybe I'll reconsider it a little bit later. All right, Houston and Milwaukee. We've got Blanco and Myers. I think at low ownership, Blanco's kind of interesting here. We know he's got upside, and he certainly has downside as well. He's a very wide range of outcomes guy. And I have some interest in Houston, which I feel kind of stupid for saying because, as I pointed out, this team is very average, and they always like look a little better than maybe they should. But Myers has really not been good, and I think I'm interested a little bit in Houston, just a little bit. So yeah, a little bit of Houston with Blanco. This is the first stack that I've actually kind of liked so far.
Hang on one second.
All right, so I'll
You need me?
So Cubs A's World
Hello?
Series, Eric Johnson. Yeah, right. We'll see that.
Do you need me? I'm recording.
So anyway, there we go. All right, sorry. Good.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit of disagreement with you on this one. Partially because of the projections, I guess. So I have Myers project like 5 points higher than Sabers. And I don't know whether he's been good, bad, or indifferent, but I'm actually getting. I'm actually getting to him as my co-SP2 here. I don't know what it is, but
it says he's 5.7, but he hasn't put up. I think it's the most he's put up this year was it like 11?
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I mean, look, you
don't have to agree with me. I'm just telling you what I'm getting. I don't even know if I'm actually playing it, but that's just what projection wise. He rates pretty decently on a point per dollar basis. So I'm getting some of that, and I'm not getting any of the Houston or any of the Milwaukee.
All right. No, I still haven't found one stack that I'm like really excited about playing yet.
Yeah, I think we'll get there.
I think we're getting there. Well, I think this might be a spot we could talk about, but I think it's all right, we'll get to it. All right, Reagans and Shane Smith for the White Sox in KC. All right, so I'm struggling a little bit with this one because I've been on the record or a record of saying that I think Shane Smith is actually pretty decent. And yet it's a White Sox pitcher against a good offense, which means I want to go there. Obviously, if you're not like Boyd and Reagans, I think are one and I think Reagans is just one and Boyd is probably two, but I think Boyd's pretty good as well. So those I think are your main pitchers today. But I don't know. I think Kansas City's going to steam, and I think it's the wrong thing to do to play them. That's just my take.
Well, I mean, like you said, they are certainly going to seem. I have them as yeah. I have them pretty clearly the top-rated stack, and I imagine they're going to be the most popular. So we'll have to see about that. But I have Reagan as my top pitcher, and I have him. I don't know. I have him like much higher than Boyd. So we'll just see.
Yeah.
Just a dream matchup, and I don't know. So looks good. Looks good to me. So I like Reagans a lot. I do like Kansas City. It's a question of what kind of chalk I want to eat.
Yeah, and I think they'll probably be the highest owned, but I don't. I just want to throw out that I don't know why the projections or we as a community just decide guys are bad, but I think that's what's happening with Shane Smith, and I'm not sure that's accurate. Hasn't had a bad hasn't really been roughed up yet. He had one. He had only starts. He hasn't only thrown 80 pitches per outing, but I don't know. It just feels like the wrong thing to do to me as chalk. But we'll see. All right. Next up is Pittsburgh in St. Louis, and it is just medium, 62 degrees, nothing crazy weather-wise. And I think this is the other place where you're going to get. I thought there'd be a little bit more ownership. But I think that St. Louis is going to have some ownership, and I actually don't mind either side of this, but I don't see either of it as especially exciting. I think St. Louis is a little bit better than Pittsburgh today. That's where I'm at. But
I have a dumb question. So for like a period of like a year or two, St. Louis would show up as like this great value, and we'd like I would always play it. They'd always like struggle or whatever it is. And like this year, do they score like 20 runs a game, or am I hallucinating? You know what I mean? Like
I'm hallucinating.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I see them show up, and I don't play them sometimes. And then every once in a while, I see at the top of the leaderboard, like some guys got all these Cardinals, and they're scoring 20 runs. Maybe I'm just like being very selective about my observations and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe McGuire came back to the team or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they're directly in the middle of average runs scored,
which is probably 10 runs higher than they used to be.
Right, but maybe. But the Cubs just running away with the most runs scored. You'd think it'd be the Yankees or Dodgers, but the Cubs have just been all over this. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I have St. Louis rated as one of the top stacks below KC. I had Cincinnati's the other. We'll get to one in a minute, but I have St. Louis rated pretty high actually, and not getting really to either pitcher.
Yeah, I think that's sort of that's pretty fair, I guess. And the St. Louis offense they're much better than they were last year when they were like one of the worst in baseball. But like you said, they kept showing up as this value that we should be playing, and we could never find it. All right, finally a game where I'm actually excited to play some offense. New York in Arizona, and this feels like a two-pronger, all the hitting, and I think it's going to be hard to get the Mets in because they're pretty expensive. Well, maybe not actually. Why are they low owned? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is going to be accurate. I think it's going to change later today. I'm high on both these stacks, and I want all the exposure for this game. This is like I mean on this slate where I've really been so wishy-washy on everything, I could argue for just playing this game for hitting, and then just sort of calling it a day. I love it.
Well, you know what's interesting is there's 6 games at 7:30. Between 7 and 7:45. And I wouldn't actually make this case, but like you said, you can make this case that you could wait till this 9:40 slot to get your exposure. I think both Mets and Arizona, like you said, are up there. I have them again. I have 1, 2, 3. I mean, I rated 6 stacks. I put Kansas City on top, but then I have Cincinnati, St. Louis, and we'll get to another in a second. And then I have Arizona and the Mets. So if this game decides to blow up in general, I definitely see that as a possibility. So I like both of them.
Yeah, I think it seems like a great spot. I'm sort of shocked by the ownership, and I think it's going to change as the day goes on. But I think it's going to be much more popular than it looked. All right, Severino and Bryce Miller in Sacramento. Sorry, I'll never get it right. I think that Bryce Miller is like for some reason a contrarian play today. We just decided because of one start, and Oakland's been good. Nobody's questioning it, but I don't really know why Bryce Miller is not the third or fourth best pitcher on the slate. Maybe so he probably will be for me. I like Bryce Miller here, and there is, for what it's worth, like it's 82 degrees, but there is like 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from left. So the lefties would probably be a little bit more desirable than the righties. And I think you can make a case for Severino, and I think because the total, or actually it's not even that high a total, it's just SaberSim's total is high. SaberSim's got like a 1.5 runs higher than the actual game total is. I think this is going to have some ownership in this game for the hitting. I think the pitchers in this game are more interesting for me. But if I had to pick a side, I think I would probably pick the Mariners as the side I'd want to stack. How about you, Sheets?
Yeah, I think that especially since it's sort of a compact slate, I guess. I mean, it's not like an enormous slate.
Yeah.
I think this game is a very legit sort of sneaky 4-pronger, actually. So, first of all, the one that projects well is the Seattle hitting side of this. I have them projected like right alongside of St. Louis and Cincy as my next second, third, and fourth, with value attached or whatever it is. But first of all, I agree with you about the Bryce Miller thing. He was very pedestrian in his last start, but you know what? He couldn't really find the plate, and that just happens sometimes.
He had 24 fantasy points. That's probably enough to win the slate outside of Reagan's tonight.
Maybe.
Yeah.
listen, but just objectively, I was watching because I needed him. But he got the win. He was a big favorite. Whatever it is. So it was kind of rough to get through. But like you said, I mean, what else is there really? If you want to pivot off of Boyd Reagans or whatever, I mean, look, I'm sitting here touting Tobias Myers. You know what I mean? So I mean, I certainly rather play Bryce Miller now that I think about it, right? Especially listen, this total looks kind of big, so I think people are going to play some of this.
It's not that high of a total. It's just a SaberSim.
Oh, it's a SaberSim total.
Yeah.
And then and then I mean, I will say though, I mean, I think that the Oakland's always live, so they're okay. And then like if you're going to really make Seattle like the kind of like a chalky option here, I mean, I could again if we're really searching for like an SP2 that's like not highly owned, I would have no problem playing Severino. I mean, Seattle's a team that we like to target. Listen, the park's not as good, but like you said, the wind is blowing in, right? So that's something. And what do you really need from your SP2 here? If you can get, as you've been mentioning, you play Reagans and not Myers. Boyd, those are probably the two best. But if Boyd doesn't do well, you're going to need 15 out of somebody.
Right?
And why not Severino at 10% or something like that? So, and again, the other thing we have to really think about is this early game. Remember the Padres Yankees. If that game goes, like those two pitchers are going to get used. And
also if they don't go, that means Reagans and Boyd each end up 60+%.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a compact slate, and is it gonna be another freaking day when St. Louis scores 15 runs? The one that doesn't exist, I just keep making up.
No, but you know what though? Because you keep saying it, that means you're speaking it into existence. So it's going to something like that is going to happen.
Yes.
I think it's a good call. For me, like I've got the Boyd Reagans as the clear 1-2 or whatever. Reagans 1, Boyd 2. But I like Miller and Blanco as low owned pitchers. Those are the other ones that I'll fiddle with and make sure I get some exposure. And I think the Mets Arizona is just so much better for me than everything else. But as you mentioned, St. Louis is a secondary option for me. Cincinnati, Houston, those are the ones I'm looking at the most. Yeah. And now we get to do the fun part. We get to figure out who we're going to play and see how everybody did at the Survivor.
Everybody won because San Francisco is the chalk again.
Yeah.
But we'll take a look. So first, let's look at the standings. Pull my picks. I know nobody busted completely. The only two people had the Yankees. Actually, one person finally got busted here. He had the Yankees. Somebody else took the Yankees. So two people that said, you know what, the Yankees are good. I don't feel like saving them. They lost anyway. So they went with the Yankees and they lost, and everybody else is in. So let's pull this up. My picks. Okay. So for those the uninitiated or whatever, we have to pick one team to just win at least half of their games. And you can't pick a team more than once, and you get one screw up week, which you've used in the first week, as we always do. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, and there might be an exception to it this week, but we'll get to it, is you typically want to play teams that have an even number of games because it's simply easier to go 3-3 than it is to go 4-3. So that's that. Might as well just get started. So Dodgers 7 games, we don't need that. We could save them, and they're gonna go 5-2 minimum. So, but what are you gonna do?
Probably.
Okay, Padres. It's nice to play them at Rockies, but I don't feel like going 0-3 to start it off. Not that they're necessarily going to go 0-3 against the Yankees, but I don't think that I want to do that.
I don't think they'd be favored in the games. Maybe one of them they could be favored, but that's probably it.
Now the first one, which I think has got to be the chalk, and it's got to be the easiest one to play, is the Tigers. Okay, they have 3 at home. 3 at Rockies, and then 3 at home against the Rangers. The only downside to it, okay, is that they're gonna get DeGrom, because DeGrom just pitched yesterday. So if that's the case, they'll end up getting him on Friday maybe. Yeah. So that's the only downside, and the other downside is as I
better than DeGrom. It's okay.
What's that?
They've got 2 guys who are better than DeGrom. It's okay.
They have 2 guys that are better than that. Is correct. At least one.
At least one for sure.
And the other downside, and we have to really think about it this week, is that they're going to be huge chalk. So if we can get away with not using the Tigers, probably a good thing. So we'll think about that. All right, Mets at Diamondbacks, home against Cubs. You're in a big shootout against the Diamondbacks, and as you mentioned, the Cubs score more runs than anybody else. So not interested. Giants 6 road games, including 3.
We can't use them anyway.
At Chicago, and we used them already. Even better.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Oof.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same. They're at Oakland. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Home against Toronto. Medium.
Yeah, I feel like it's very medium. I don't know.
I'm going to keep them off to the right.
Okay.
But for now, obviously the Tigers are better. But let's
yeah, we're looking for something contrarian a little bit.
Cubs 3 at Mets. I'm not really interested in that one.
No.
Cleveland.
Phillies are tough teams.
Yeah, this is tough. I don't want that. Yankees 3 home. I mean, the thing that's annoying is if this game rains out, we might have a problem.
And it's just rough too. Like the Padres are good and the A's are good. That's the only problem.
And the Yankees are good, so why use them? Right?
Yeah. So we can also probably find
Phillies 6 road games. Not interested. So this is the 7 gamer that I would consider. Just because they have 4 at home against the White Sox.
Yeah, and all the games are home.
And all their games are home. And the Red Sox are not great either. You know, this at first look would be the other one that I would use. I mean, again, what are you going to? How could you? I mean, although you're not supposed to play 7 games, before against the White Sox, it's very, very tough to give up. I mean, like even if you get 3 out of 4 against the White Sox, now you only need 1.
Right.
Against Boston. And it's not, like I said, as long as Boston, and they're all at home. You know, and there's nobody on Boston I'm particularly worried about unless we get Crochet. Okay, so that's 1. And I think actually Crochet we might miss him actually. Because was he yesterday or the day before? Well, it doesn't matter. I think that he's going to get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. He actually might go Friday if he pitched yesterday.
I think he would.
Did he pitch yesterday? Hold on.
I'll see where he's at. Crochet next.
He definitely was either yesterday or the day before.
It's annoying because his name always I don't type in first names and they always predict me to something weird. All right, so he pitched game log. Yeah, he pitched yesterday. You would get him.
All right, so that's a problem. But all right, we'll keep him in the loop then.
Okay.
No. Oakland, no. Diamondbacks, no. Against the Dodgers. Astros at Milwaukee. Home. Oh man.
Not ideal.
Not ideal, but
they're all like the same team.
Yeah. Red 7 all on the road. Red Sox, no. Milwaukee, and now we're into these bad teams. I mean, no. Tampa, no. Toronto, no. Cardinals.
You weren't joking. Detroit is going to be so far higher owned than.
Boy, can we fade them somehow and just root for something to happen?
Something else.
I mean, that would be really big if we can get away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other choices in my head would be Kansas City and Seattle.
It'd be nice to find one of these, like, what team is better than maybe their record, like in Atlanta, but they're settling 7. What team also might be better? Like what about the Cardinals?
You get 3 against the Pirates at home.
Yeah.
See that I think is actually pretty good. Actually.
Let's see when Paul Skeens is pitching though. Skeens. He pitched the other day. He was horrible, but I think he might be in there. Unfortunately,
I think we might get him. Well, they play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
They They played Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and he pitched on the 1st. Oh, yeah,
right in there.
Shit. That was my favorite creative one, and that doesn't even work.
Do we worry about having to face Mackenzie Gore? Is he that good or not really?
No, I mean,
that's not a big.
He's up and down. What about well, no, that's also on the road. If they weren't on the road, I would consider Baltimore. How about these? I think some of these bad teams. So let's take a quick look at what about the Angels? The Angels got the Blue Jays, and
I thought about that one.
God, it's really hard to fade them.
The Angels, but then they have the Orioles. The Orioles. Ugh.
What is the Nationals again? Or sorry, what about the Rays? Look, I'm thinking about all the teams. I think
they're home against the Phillies and the Brewers.
Oh God. At least they're home, but that's rough, man. And then Cincinnati's got the other same sort of level teams.
I think we're supposed to take the Royals.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say what the Orioles had again? Because I can we not use them? No, we can't.
Orioles are at Twins and Angels.
Oh, they're on the road, both of them.
Yeah, but it's not like they're against anybody good.
Yeah. Well, the Twins, I still don't know what the hell they are. I thought they were going to be better than this coming into the year. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. I mean, do we take a giant gamble? We don't really necessarily need to yet because it's not a huge person pool, right? Like there's not like thousands of people here.
No.
So I think if we just do the normal thing, it's probably the right week to do it. Unless we want, who has the 7? The Kansas City?
Yeah, I really don't want to play the Tigers if I can avoid it.
Okay, well,
I just know how chalky they're going to be.
Okay, well, and people don't like to do the Kansas City thing, and they've got 3-4 against the White Sox. Let's do that.
Sure, I'm saying.
I'm with you. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to do that.
We're going against. Because another way of looking at it is, well, I guess there's not really another way of looking at it. Let's do it though.
No, we're done. We're in.
It's going to be like almost everybody, but maybe 1 or 2 teams are going to have that.
You think, right?
I think. I mean, unless everybody overthinks it, like we do.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll be good for basketball and baseball later today at 5:30 Eastern time. Want to remind everybody you can check out our packages and also make sure, look, if you want to do a trial, we've got all the trials available, and I think it's a really, really cool offering. Also check out the video for those of you guys who have asked me about it that I did with James from from Paydirt, who we partnered with as well. And